Doc on the Run. We help injured runners run.
When is it okay to add weight-bearing exercises when you've had a bone injury like a stress reaction? Well, that's a great question, and that's what we're talking about today on the Doc on the Run podcast. Now, today's episode comes from another YouTube viewer who posted a comment and posed a question. I have a low-risk grade 2 stress reaction in my posterior tibia, which is the shin bone. Interestingly, there's some research discussing the benefits of weight-bearing bone-building exercise once tolerated pain-free, like hops, jumps, and step-ups. Do you have any advice on when and how to integrate these types of exercises into a rehabilitation program? Well, the short answer is yes. I do have some advice on this, a couple of things really, and they're extremely important because I get these questions literally every day from people I have not met, have not evaluated, have not diagnosed, and they want to know always. It's never really, anything other than, can I do this exercise now? Was what these questions always amount to. And the short answer is yes. I do have some advice on when you can incorporate these kind of exercises that could potentially stress the bone and stimulate it to develop bone, lay down bone, remodel bone faster. And it's really simple. It comes down to two things. Number one, you can do these kind of exercises when your treating doctor says it's okay. The fact that this person wrote in and said, I have a low-risk grade 2 stress reaction in the tibia tells me that a doctor has in some way evaluated it, probably with an MRI and probably x-rays as well, and has made this diagnosis, presumably determining what's really wrong with the patient. Now, so that brings up point number two. You can do these kind of exercises, number one, if your doctor says it's okay, and number two, when you have clear indication that you can do those exercises without stressing the bone too much. The goal with any injured runner is to figure out how to add more exercise, and that is a lot of what I teach whenever I run the Fast Track Challenge, which only runs about once a month, and I only let a few people in. But all recovering runners are clearly in a race against time. I mean, let's face it, you build months or years building your fitness, and then you get injured and you stop exercising. You start to rapidly lose that fitness, and the loss of fitness is exponential as time goes on without exercising. So the goal is to always match healing of the tissue that has been injured with the new level of strength in that healing tissue. And as this question implies, that once it's tolerated in some way, that you should be able to add more exercise. But many runners do get into a cycle of reintroduction of running too early and re-injury as a consequence of that. So that's what you have to avoid at all costs. Getting injured again is not going to get you back to running your goal races any faster. Now, you've got to make sure that you're getting evaluated. What I do not understand, truthfully, is why so many people go to the doctor, get an accurate diagnosis, and then ask me as a YouTube comment or in a random post about what would you advise I do? Well, I advise you ask your doctor, number one. But number two, if you don't have a doctor and you've made this diagnosis on your own, you can figure it out, just like I teach people how to do that in the Stress Fracture Masterclass and the How to Run with a Stress Fracture course and all of those things. The Fast Track Challenge. It's really what we teach, but you have to be systematic about it the same way that a doctor would be systematic about it, just focusing more on running than the injury. So make sure you don't just start doing something like jumping on one foot or doing, the hop test to stress the bone or doing box jumps or something like that, or even step-ups or running stairs. You've got to be systematic about this. You add those things incrementally, systematically, making sure that you're not overstressing the bone. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, please like it, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next training.
Doc on the Run. We help injured runners run.